Hi, welcome to our first podcast.
Our first episode of Rainy City Murders.
It is definitely a murder we're talking about, murders we're talking about today.
Yes, it is.
Gary Ridgway,
Gary
the
Ridgway.
Green River Killer,
Yes.
and all of the task force that helped him be caught,
Yes.
all the way down from, Dave Reichart, who made a career of it, all the way down to Sue Peters, who interviewed Judith, his wife.
And then you have Tom Jensen, who remained on the task force after it was disbanded.
Yes.
No, Mark Henny is the one who knew it was Ridgway from the beginning.
And who actually solved it.
And who actually solved it and ended up leaving the task force.
Yes, he did, because nobody believed him.
Yep, which we'll get into.
That is true.
Which we'll get into. Yes. And then you have Faye Brooks, who I love her. Yes. She worked in the sex crimes unit and then moved to the task force to help them because it had to do with the vulnerable, aka prostitutes and runaways.
Yes. There were over 55 officers on the task force at one time.
Yeah, but the only one who really made a career out of it was Reichart.
Yes, he did. He sure made a career out of it.
Yes, and I apologize in advance. We have 3 very large dogs.
Yes,
who are getting used to this,
and who will not stop jumping on us.
No, and they're playing right now.
Yeah. Well, Gary Ridgway was born in Salt Lake City.
Yes. So, all quick background?
Yes.
Okay, so quickly, Gary Ridgway is a Green River killer. It was known as that because most of the bodies were dumped in, around, or near the Green River, all the way from here in Auburn, where we are, Kent, all the way to Burien, they said?
Yes, a lot of them, they said that they found near the airport.
Mm-hmm.
But some were as far as up by Issaquah, mm-hmm. and some were as north of Seattle.
Yes, and he was convicted for 49 murders because that's the only evidence that he had, even though he has confessed to 71 to 90 plus.
Yeah, he was trying to make 100 in 1 year, so he would be, quote, the best serial killer ever.
He is considered the best.
Yes, he is.
He is still considered one of the largest.
Considering he has an IQ in the 80s.
Yes.
Yes. You wouldn't think that he was this good.
Mm-hmm.
He has dyslexia. He had a lot of issues, and he was able to pull this off for so many years,
despite being married and having a kid.
Yes. He sort of stopped when he married his third wife.
Mm-hmm, but that still didn't stop him all the way.
No.
It stopped him for a little bit. But we will get into the full case in a little bit.
Yes.
So, Dave Reichart.
Yes, the lead detective on the case.
On the task force. He has always interested me because he is the only police officer and sheriff's officer that has actually made a career in past law enforcement, using what he did in law enforcement to go forward.
Yes, he sure did. He rode the tailcoats of this.
Yes, and many, including me, will argue that he actually didn't do a whole lot on the task force.
No, he didn't. He didn't even solve it.
No, but he was a lead detective. He was a lead detective, so he was the front man.
Yes, he was. There was like a captain over him and people over him, but he was, quote, the lead detective on this.
Yes. And many criticized him because No one believed he did enough. During the time on the task force, he actually did more for the case after he became the sheriff.
Yes, because he reinstated the task force.
Yes, who ended up catching him. He is a retired police officer. He served Washington in the 8th District in the Republican Party for the House of Representatives from 2005 to 2019. His most recent venture was he ran for governor last year and lost to who is the current governor, Bob Ferguson, which I was not surprised by at all.
I wasn't at all.
However, even though he is a Republican, he does lean towards moderate, so I have to give him credit where credit is due. But yeah, so Dave Reichart, because a lot of the other task force members you can't find like any information on.
Yeah.
They were kind of written out unless you view like the documentaries and stuff.
Yeah.
But Reichart himself, he was born in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, the eldest of 7 children. Him and his family moved from Minnesota to Renton, Washington in 1951 and then moved to Kent. He attended Kent Meridian High School, where he graduated from.
And then, doesn't he only have an associate degree?
Yes, he only has. He went to Concordia Lutheran College, and he only has Association of Arts and Social Work.
Yeah, which we thought he had more education.
But his background, he in 1971 joined the Air Force Reserve's 939th Military Airlift Group. He saw active duty for 6 months, and he served until 1976. And I'm just giving you guys a little background on Dave Reichart because I was kind of surprised by some of the information that I didn't realize he was a reservist, and I didn't realize he only had an associate.
Yeah. We kind of, the way he sold himself was like he was the savior.
Yes.
That he had done so much and he had solved this case all on his own. And
it's only until recently that he started giving more credit out.
Yes.
So his law enforcement career began in 1970. His second year, 1971. So he got recognition for this next one in 1971. Him and his partner did respond to a domestic violence call, in which a knife-wielding man who was trying to kill his wife ended up slitting his throat, Reichardt's throat.
Yeah.
That required surgery and a bunch of stitches. He ended up earning a Medal of Valor for it, which I think is what brought him to mind when he joined the homicide detectives.
Yes.
Which was kind of surprising because he joined right after that, and it's kind of rare to get to join detectives your second year in law enforcement.
Yes.
After your second year.
Yes. He was definitely a mover and a shaker.
Yes, he was. The following year, so we are in 1972. He moved to the King County Sheriff's Office, and this is where he joined the homicide unit. Was in the sheriff's office. The Green River Task Force was established on August 16th, 1982, and this time period established what is considered to be the longest and largest serial killer investigation in United States history.
Yes, it was. It definitely was.
So, wanted to be noted, talking about Gary Ridgway, we are not trying to humanize him.
Not at all. He is the biggest monster there is out there. we're just we're going to talk about how the case was fumbled, how it could have been solved after, well, they had evidence on the first victim, and then the next four that were found, they could have tied it to Kenworth, which is where he was a painter.
Yeah, because there was paint chips.
Yes, and they could have caught him, but they didn't.
No, they did not do it properly.
No.
So Eric Ridgway actually, prior to this, had a record with law enforcement, had records with them. He was originally arrested in 1980 for allegedly choking a prostitute because she bit him. And he got no charges were filed because he claimed it was self-defense.
Yes, and she declined to prosecute.
Yes.
So,
like most most sex workers do. Then 2 years later, saw him arrested for solicitation, and this is where most believe this arrest is what started his bloodlust and his anger towards women.
Yeah. Well, I also read that some of the feelings started when he was in Vietnam because or when he was serving in the Vietnam War. He was in the Philippines and he caught gonorrhea and a chlamydia from a prostitute there, and it angered him, and he felt like that they were doing, terrible things and blah blah blah. And he came back to the States and continued to uh, visit them.
Yes. So his first known victim was a 16-year-old. She was 16-year-old girl who was found in July 1982. So mind you, so keep in mind, they did not form the task force until August. Yes. By which point 5 bodies had been found. Yes.
She actually had her chains around her throat or something like that, and there were paint chips.
Yes.
That would have tied it back to Kentworth paint department because they were the only ones in the area using that kind of paint. It's specialized paint.
Yes.
And the other 4 victims had the same paint chips.
Yes.
Or were around the next 4 victims.
Yes. And this is kind of where the case got fumbled. Is that they suspected Ridgway right away.
Yes, and they even had him under surveillance at one point and saw him doing crap, and they still didn't do anything.
No.
So,
yeah, so, but investigators could not tie him to the victims because at the time in 1982, DNA technology
did not exist.
Wasn't a thing. They didn't know.
No.
He was arrested and questioned in 1983. And that is where they put him under surveillance and did a raid on his house and all of that, which surprised everybody.
Yes.
Because he is described as this nice guy who always had a smile for everybody, always waved, always helped out. He was best friends with his neighbors.
Yeah, he also they served a search warrant on his house in was it 87 too?
Yeah, they did it multiple times.
Yes. And they didn't find anything. Nothing. And he passed the lie detector test.
In 1984, because his arrest in 1983 was because a witness saw a prostitute in his truck who later turned up dead.
Yes.
Yes, he passed a polygraph in 1984, and that is also the same year that members of the task force, including Reichert, oh my, I'm so sorry, it's Reichert. He traveled to Florida, to death row in Florida, to interview Ted Bundy because they thought out of everybody, Ted Bundy can give them, the mindset of a serial killer because Ted Bundy actively talked about everything that he did. He did not hide it. He was willing to talk about it.
Yeah, if nobody knows who Ted Bundy is, but I'm sure you do, he's another serial killer, but he's totally different than Ridgway. Mm-hmm. Ted Bundy was educated, good looking, and could talk anybody into anything.
Yes.
He was on death row and he's been executed already. Mm-hmm. So if you want to do some research on him, that's who he is.
And he actually had a hand in a case that we will be going over next week.
Oh, okay.
It was a very interesting tie-in. So Bundy offered his opinions on the psychology, motivations, and behind the killer, and the motivations, that behind the mind of a serial killer. So he was actually the one who told the detectives to stake out the dump sites because
he was coming back.
Because he was the one who said, your serial killer is coming back to have sex with the bodies.
Yeah, that's something else we'll talk about.
Gary Ridgway is a necrophiliac, by the way.
Yeah.
And for people who do not know what necrophiliac is, it is people who have sex with dead bodies or have sexual intentions, acts with dead bodies.
Yes.
There's actually, it would not surprise a lot of people. It will, but it won't, that most serial killers are necrophiliacs or cannibals. That one is Artie.
Yeah, she's the big girl.
She is a bruiser. She jumps on everybody.
And everything.
Yes. Nothing is off limits. Yep. Oh, yep.
At least I have some clothes on.
Which Ted Bundy's information turned out to be accurate.
Yes.
And they watched it and they came back to 8 fresh graves at these places because Gary Ridgway, instead of dumping bodies, he was now burying them because he had hoped by burying them they would stop him wanting to come back to have sex with the bodies.
Well, him burying them also, he was burying them because he didn't want them finding it and taking away his precious
yes
his precious things because they were his.
Yes, but his main thing was that he was trying to stop having sex with the bodies, which did not stop him.
Yeah. So in 1981, he moved into this Auburn neighborhood where he ended up living until the day he was arrested.
Yes.
And according to records, he killed 20 or 30 in the house.
Yes, in the same bed that he shared with his wife.
Judith. Oh, yes. Yeah. Judith will come back to.
Yes. And this was also the same year, 1984, where they actually uncovered the police records related to Gary Ridgway, which I'm sorry, if I was a detective and I had a suspect, that would be one of the first things I did was search for any previous violence towards sex workers.
Yeah. Well, there was a guy that came to the lab and there and was teaching a class, and he heard about the case, and he said, well, he goes, if you ever get this, this, and this, you'll send it to me. I'll help you. And they never contacted him again. They didn't contact him until after they had matched him to Ridgway, and he could have stopped this. It makes him so angry that nobody reached out to him. This is all coming from NBC article that I read this morning about some of the things that were messed up in this case.
And I've just read a lot of the biographies.
Yes.
Because I have a criminal justice background.
Yeah.
So what is interesting is that they did have briefly one other suspect. It was because they were told when they set up the tip lines that the serial killer will likely contact them to get involved in the investigation. And so somebody did contact them.
He was a cab driver
named Melvin Foster. He was a 43-year-old cab driver who lived in Olympia, but he would go down to Seattle.
This is all happening on Pacific Highway,
Pacific Highway South. No, Pacific Highway.
Yes.
Pacific Highway, that goes from Seattle through Federal Way. It goes through many cities here. He actually knew most of the victims. He transported most of the victims. So they kept Melvin Foster under surveillance for 6 months.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And Melvin Foster was not concerned because he knew he didn't do anything, to the point that he contacted the media himself to give his side of the story.
Well, they finally figured out it wasn't him because these bodies were being killed and they had him under surveillance.
Exactly.
So they figured out, oh, it's not him, but they wasted months.
6 months.
Yeah, it was a waste. So they almost caught him when 18-year-old Marie Melvar in 1983 got into his truck, and her boyfriend and her dad or her pimp, somebody found the truck after she disappeared, and it was Ridgway's house. And they went to the Des Moines, Washington's police, and they sent a sergeant or a deputy out. And it turns out Ridgway went to school with him. And he's all, oh, they've got it wrong, blah, blah, blah. And the girl was in the house. And they drove away because they believed him. This was in 1983.
So, like we've said, Ridgway was beloved by his coworkers, his neighbors, his family. Nobody, absolutely nobody, believed that he did this. That he was capable of doing this.
The only one who believed it was Matt Henney.
And he again left the task force because nobody believed him.
Yeah, the up above were like, no,
you got it
wrong, blah blah blah, and he left.
So he went during this investigation, Ridgway went on to marry his wife Judith. He stopped killing briefly because, as he described Judith was magical and made him want to stop.
Yeah, they met each other at Parents Without Partners.
Yes.
And yeah, it took him, they were together for a while, and he wasn't killing. He started killing again about a month to 6 weeks after the wedding.
Yes, which was done in their neighbor's backyard because the neighbors had watched his whole life basically be imploded, and by the police, that they were dragging his name through the mud, that they were hurting an innocent man. So they wanted to make sure that they had the best wedding that they could.
Yes.
Not knowing they were watching
her marry a serial killer.
Yes. So in 1987, the police still did not give up on Ridgway, and they served another search warrant. And this search warrant was very intense.
Yeah, they took Judith out of work and took her down to the station and questioned her.
Yes, so this was for his home, his vehicles, and his work. This included his work vehicle, anywhere he worked in Kenmore, everywhere. None of the items that they recovered, including carpet fibers and ropes, could be linked to any of the victims.
And I just saw an interview with him this morning that said he wasn't really that worried.
No, he was confident. He was a very confident man.
He said maybe, but he wasn't. I mean, this guy had an IQ of just in the 80s.
They at this point they also collected a DNA sample of saliva, which again they really still couldn't do anything with it in 1987, so they preserved it.
Yes.
because the technology was not yet available to connect the saliva to the semen that was found in multiple victims' bodies. So eventually, after this, the case did run cold, and the task force had to disband because there was no funding. They had no leads, no tips, nothing.
Well, in '85, it slowed down when he met Judith, and then because it stopped, they assumed that that he was dead or whatever,
moved something.
But they were still finding bones.
They were still finding bones
They were
and
still
fragments.
finding bodies and stuff like that, but they just assumed because they can tell when they died that these were just people that.
And then Detective Tom Jensen, he was the only person on the task force who remained focused on this case. He was the one who was running down tips and leads. He was the one keeping this case going, and he was the one who got the call when the DNA came through and all that, which we'll get to. So at this point in time, Reichard ran for sheriff and he won. He had promised to reopen the Green River case, bring back the task force, because one of his that was the big promise, was closing this case finally and getting the justice for these families and the victims, because he claimed that he wouldn't give up on the case because he doesn't give up on anything, especially when, quote unquote, I think that someone's being hurt or harmed.
Yes, he did say that.
So I do credit him for reopening this case and bringing this case back to the forefront. It wasn't until 2001. So let's see, this started in 82. We are now in 2001, where old evidence was finally re-examined, and we were advanced enough to start connecting DNA, running DNA.
It wasn't connected to him; it was connecting the victims.
Yes.
So
it connected Ridgway to the semen.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so Rebecca Gaia is the only one that's known to escape him.
Yes.
It's a Guay. I want to make sure that I get that name right. And that's when they put him under surveillance. So,
but they used that 14-year-old saliva to connect him to the semen.
Yeah, because it had been so in November 1st, November 01, it had been 14 years inactive and the testing was done. He was 52 years old when he was 52 years old when he was arrested, and Sue Peters was assigned to interview Judith.
Yes.
Okay.
So the task force reunited, and they had to get extensive search warrants again. So this is the third time they are searching his house, his home, his vehicle, his work truck, everything. This is once again he was under surveillance once again. They followed him to work where he was arrested, and he didn't do anything. He gave up. He knew he was caught. He was like, "You guys finally caught up to me."
And he did plead not guilty.
Yeah, initially, but he also went quietly, knowing
they caught him.
Knowing that they caught him. He ended up agreeing to a plea deal, where this is kind of the plea deal that a lot of people do debate about, is that because he has not been holding up his side of the plea deal, even though the state has. The plea deal was that they would take the death penalty off the table if and give him life in prison if he led them to the bodies of all of his victims, including the ones that they didn't have evidence or can convict him for. Because that was the big thing, was that they also could not add on more life sentences as they uncovered the bodies.
Yeah. They've taken him on so many trips.
So many trips, he finds them, they're field trips to him.
Yeah, he acts like he's out on a picnic.
Mm-hmm. And so the big deal about this was that Reichardt also was big in interviewing him, because Ridgway, they sent Reichardt in when Ridgway kept saying that he could not remember any details of where the bodies were. And Reichardt didn't believe him. No one did. He told Reichardt, we'll just sit here then, because I'm a patient guy. I've waited 21 years to get here. I can stay here all day if I want, or all week, which I think is probably one of my favorite quotes.
Yes.
From this whole case. He was placed in solitary confinement. Ridgway was placed in solitary confinement
for his safety.
Because they had seen so many serial killers get murdered by inmates. Jeffrey Dahmer's a big one. Get murdered by inmates, and it could just be simple as them being escorted back to their cell. Yes. So he was placed in solitary confinement in King County, and then once again at Washington State Penitentiary in Walla Walla, Washington.
And he complained.
Oh yes, he complained, and so they placed him there in January 2024. And there's some more things with Ridgway, and we'll get back to those, because this case got kind of messed up again. So going back to Reichardt, he finished his time up in law enforcement.
Yes, he did.
He accomplished a bit more. Like, I do have to give him credit for some of the things he has done. He ended up serving as the president of the Washington State Sheriff's Association. He was an executive board member of the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs. And in 2004, he won the 2004 National Sheriff's Association's Sheriff of the Year Award, and the Washington State Attorney General's Award for Courageous Actions. He also walked away from the police force with 2 Medals of Valor. There was no information on what the second one was, but I'm pretty sure it had to do with Gary Ridgway.
I think so. It had to. But, I mean, he didn't solve the murder. No. This is where we're going about Dave. Is he didn't actually solve the murder.
Not Haney did. And he solved it within the first 3 months of the 3 months of the task force.
Yes.
So we're going into Reichardt because, yeah, he did solve it, and he has rode the coattails of this case for decades now.
Yeah.
So once he retired, that same year, several months later, he began his run for Congress in the House of Representatives. And he ran a lot on his fame from the Green River Killer case.
Yes, he did.
And I'm not gonna lie, there's quite a bit about Reichardt's politics that I do not like. I don't like his responses, and he last year tried to backtrack on a lot of the things he has said, trying to make him more appealing for the governor's race.
Yes.
But I'm also going to tell you that everyone's entitled to their own beliefs and their own opinions, and I fully support that, but that also does not mean that I will not criticize those. Especially if it seems like they are harming people.
Yes.
Especially because if you are not from Washington, Washington State is a sanctuary state, which is a very big deal.
Yeah. I know a lot of people right now don't believe in that, which is
yes.
fine. You can believe in whatever you want, but most people here
We
believe in it.
and we actively support it.
Yes.
I actively support it.
So do I. But that's our opinion. That's
Yes.
not any opinion. You know, my parents were immigrants. They were they came here sponsored. They had their green cards and then they got their citizenship. But this was, 50 years ago.
50 years ago,
Yeah,
it was a little more easier.
Yeah, my parents are from England and Scotland, so
and didn't they also come from Canada at the end?
they came through Canada.
Which
My
is a little bit
oldest
easier.
sister is Canadian and my brother is Scottish, but they both have their they're both US citizens now, I believe.
Yes.
I don't know if my oldest sister
they
is
hold. I thought they held dual
they may hold
citizenship,
dual citizenship.
which is fine.
Yeah.
But so you can believe what you want, just know that is where I stand.
Yes.
I will fully admit to being as liberal as they come.
Yes, so do I.
So we're at the 2004 election. Reichert ended up bowing out of the primary debate because his opponents ran some ads about him.
Oh, yeah.
And his lack of attention towards the victims and accused him of using their grief and their pain to his advantage. They were some really
yeah, they were.
um
No, we're not going to run the ad.
I don't think you can find the ad now. I
don't know.
I went looking for the ads. I can't find them anywhere.
I don't know. I haven't seen those in years.
So he ended up defeating the Democratic opponent, which I did not know this until I was looking, that it was Cairo talk show host Dave Ross. And I was a big fan of Dave Ross out of Cairo.
Yes, so was I.
I really like him. He won 52% to 47%. And so, a couple of his first elections, they were very close calls.
Yes.
Very close calls. He succeeded the retiring Republican Congresswoman Jennifer Dunn, and at the same time of all this, this was also the presidential election, which saw George W. Bush win office, and that's important to note because he was one of just 17 House Republicans elected in a district that also voted for a Democratic presidential nominee.
Yes.
And we'll get more into his politics later, but just know that he really did nothing in the House.
Nothing. He really did he even show up? Mm. I mean,
he showed up. So you cut to 2006. He faced against Democratic candidate Darcy Burner in November, and he walked away with 51% of the vote. And again, nothing about what he voted on or anything in that year during that term either. In 2008, it was a repeat matchup of the 2006 election, and he walked away with 53% of the vote to Berner's 47%. That's kind of when he started increasing.
Yes. He was starting to get better. But also the people he was running against weren't liked. Even though we're in a democratic state.
Even some people draw the lines.
Line at Democrats.
Well, let's be real here. If Inslee had ran again, he would have lost.
Probably. Our previous, even though Ferguson is our new governor, he's a Democrat. Our previous one, who had been in office for 3 terms, was starting to wear thin.
Yes, by a lot of people. And Ferguson, I think he also won due to the fact that he was Democrat, but like what he did as Attorney General, he was fantastic as the Attorney General.
Yes, he was.
He was the lead of every like big lawsuit during Trump's first election.
Yes, he was.
Which again, we're never going to get into that because I have a lot of thoughts, and this is not the place for it. So, 2010, sorry, he won against Susan Delmain, and I couldn't find a percentage, but if I remember correctly, like we were like he won like 67% or something like that.
What's a lot?
It was a questionable election if I remember correctly, because I think it's one I've talked about in Washington State history, but also I've been out of high school for 10 years now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a hot minute. So 2012, he was challenged again by Karen Porterfield. Karen Porterfield was not loved here.
No, she wasn't.
I think she actually got ran out of Congress at one point.
Yeah, I think so.
And he won with almost 60% of the vote.
Yeah, but that still isn't a high percent.
No. In 2014, he was challenged by Jason Ritchie. Jason Ritchie, I thought he was a great Democrat, but he was kind of very loud.
Yes, and he was kind of all over the place.
Yes, he was not consistent at all. Anything.
No, he wasn't.
And that's where he won with 63% of the vote.
Yes.
So during this term, something did happen. Finally happened. But it did not have to do with the House. It didn't have to do with any of that. We are in 2015. So halfway through this election term. Halfway through this term in the House. I was in my first year of college, community college, where I was a criminal justice student. I walked into, it was a bleak November morning, 7 a.m. criminal justice class. I walked in, my professor was livid. So I found out, because I actually contacted her again, this professor actually lived in the house where one of the bodies were found in her backyard.
Oh my God.
So she had a little bit of a connection to it. So 2015, news breaks. It's breaking news. A month prior to this, so in September. No, in October, September. Was it 2 months? It was a month. Yeah. So it came out to our people in, I'm gonna cut that part out. Because it came out in September, so September 2015. Now on May 14th, 2015, Gary Ridgway had been transferred to a prison in Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado.
In the dark of the night, no one was notified. No families of the victims were not consulted.
A federal prison.
Where they house like the Unabomber and stuff. And no one knew. And when it broke, so we're talking like months after the fact broke.
People were so mad.
The families, Reichard had nothing good to say.
Well, the big thing is they were saying, well, blah blah blah. It's easier to keep him there because it's high profile. It's more secure.
We're housing like the Unabomber.
Yeah.
So we can provide all this. And so the families were really upset. This is a high security federal prison. And but they promised that Gary Ridgway was in solitary confinement all of that. Like he was still being treated the same way he was when he was here in Walla Walla. But that later came out to not be true at all.
Yeah, I mean, the whole deal about him being in Walla Walla was so he could be transferred to King County to help them find the bodies, not have a vacation in Colorado.
So Colorado basically allowed him to rejoin general population. He could hold jobs. He can participate in activities, events. He was allowed more. He was allowed a lot more
freedom.
So it was. Reichardt heavily criticized this and said it was a slap in the face to him, the task force members, and the families.
Well, they brought him back.
They did. They ended up bringing him back. The official claim was that they decided to move Ridgway out of the state because the high level of security needed to house him in Walla Walla. The DOC had asked the federal government to imprison Ridgway in the facility in Colorado designed to manage high-risk inmates, including the Unabomber and the mastermind of the World Trade Center bombing.
Yeah, because it was cheaper.
Yes. The prison didn't promise that Ridgway was segregated, not in general population, which, yeah. State prison officials announced that they decided to move him back to Washington after hearing concerns from law enforcement, Reichert, Governor Inslee, and the families of the missing victims, the missing girls. Because they wanted easy access to Ridgway.
That was the whole thing. His plea deal was
you don't get the death penalty, you don't get additional life sentences.
You come when we call and we take you out. But how can you do that from Colorado?
Because there was many still open murder investigations that they were tying him back to.
Yes. Because at this point he had admitted to 71, but he'd only been prosecuted for 49.
They had direct evidence to, and he admitted to.
Yes.
So state officials stated what we weighed was law enforcement said it would hamper their ability to discovering any additional crimes by Gary Ridgway if he was out of state. We don't want to be a barrier to that. They said they also acknowledged that a relative of one of Ridgway's victims criticized the move because families had not been notified. The DOC did promise that they would consult families and law enforcement before making changes concerning his incarceration.
Yeah. If I had been a family member, I would have been mad.
Yes. So after that, we get to 2016, where Reichardt takes his last term in the House of Representatives, House of Rep. He was challenged by Tony Ventrella. I didn't like Tony. I'm just gonna admit that. He won with 60% of the vote. I did not like Tony. I'll fully admit that. That was also like one of my first elections. That was also like the first elections, but like I actually paid attention to all the other elections going on around us. So Reichardt has very weird political positions that we kind of have to discuss. So he was with he was with the Republican Party, but he did lean for the most part on the moderate side, which is rare. He was a member of the Republican Main Street Partnership. He was ranked as the 21st most bipartisan member of the U.S. House of Representatives during the 114th Congress by the Lugar Center and the McCourt School of Public Policy. A lot of these policies and his stances were called into question last year when he ran for governor, and he tried to soften his answers and he tried to backtrack on like everything.
Well, it was there in black and white, so he really couldn't. No, he couldn't.
So during his congressional career, He opposed abortion, which is not surprising. He is Christian. He's openly admits that. He openly talks about his faith and how it has gotten him through everything.
And he's been married a long time.
Yes.
So to the same wife, not
yes.
3.
Yes. He voted repeatedly for bills to restrict abortions after 20 weeks. And during the 2024 campaign, he attempted to soften his prior views on abortion, has said he will uphold current abortion laws if elected.
I didn't believe him.
I didn't either. Because, again, you had too much evidence against you.
Yeah.
So, in 2012, he was actually not present for the vote on then House Budget Committee Chair Paul Ryan's budget, which Ryan dubbed the Path to Prosperity. Reichard had intended to vote in favor of it, but was called away to Washington State following the death of his mother. However, he did vote for the cut, cap, and balance act in the Budget Control Act of 2011. Both acts required Congress to pass a balanced budget amendment prior to raising the United States debt ceiling. This was supported primarily by Republicans and opposed by Democrats. In the final vote to lift the debt ceiling until 2013, he voted with the Republicans' majority in favor.
Okay.
Which I wasn't surprised by either.
No.
He was one of 15 Republican House members to vote in favor of repealing the Don't Ask, Don't Tell Act. Yeah, he voted in favor of repealing it.
That is crazy. My daughter, Peyton's sister, served in the Navy, and we're positive there were people in there that served under that, thing.
And if you guys don't know what that Don't Ask, Don't Tell Act is, it was the ban on openly gay military service personnel. It's basically you couldn't be openly gay in the military in any branches.
They couldn't ask you.
Yeah, but they couldn't ask you. That's the whole thing. It's don't ask, don't
they
tell.
couldn't ask you. You could be gay. You could be whatever you wanted.
You could have a partner. You just couldn't be in their face about it.
Yes, and they couldn't ask you.
In 2017, he declared his support for Executive Order 13769, which imposed a temporary ban on citizens of 7 Muslim-majority countries entering the U.S. He stated that my first and most important job is protecting families in our region and the American people. We must be absolutely certain we have systems in place capable of thoroughly vetting anyone applying for refugee status on American soil. So this was the big surge in refugees.
Yeah.
Do you remember it?
Yes, I do remember it.
Sorry. I was falling off a cushion that is on the chair right now. But that was during the big surge of refugees coming to the United States following
the Syria?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. He did support the reauthorization of the Violence Against Women Act, which, thank you.
Yes.
I do support that. He was the main sponsor of the Preventing Sex Trafficking and Improving Opportunities for Youth in Foster Care Act, a bill which would require states to take actions to address the problem of sex trafficking of children in the foster care system. And something about Washington is that we are the highest per capita for sex trafficking because of our airport. Because SeaTac is a big international airport. It's one of the last flights. It's one of the last places you go towards Alaska, cruises.
And we're right. You can go right over the border to Canada.
Right over the border to Canada, where you can go right down the street to the ports. We are also several major cruise lines. It's sex trafficking is pretty bad here. So I do applaud him though for focusing on children in the foster care system for that, because they are a very vulnerable part of our community.
Yes.
That are not recognized enough.
Yes, I agree with that.
So, he actually on March 4th, he actually is the one who introduced the Preserving Welfare for Needs Not Weed Act, a bill that would prevent the use of electronic benefit transfer cards in businesses that sell marijuana.
Oh, so you can't use your EBT card in the marijuana stores?
No, that was in 2014.
If people don't know what an EBT card is, it's what used to be food stamps.
SNAP. It's a version of SNAP benefits.
Yeah, it's what you get from the state to help you buy groceries for your family.
Because it's called EBT here, but it's also WIC and SNAP in other states.
Yes.
It's our version of that.
Yes. And in some states, I think it's still called food stamps. I'm not sure.
So he favored repealing the Affordable Care Act, which was Obamacare. Which Obamacare is kind of a topic that I'm very mixed about because I don't think they implemented that properly, but that's here nor there.
Yeah.
And he was one of only 20 Republicans to vote against the American Health Care Act of 2017, which was Trump Care. He actually voted against it. So he has voiced personal opinions against same-sex marriage, saying in 2024 that marriage is between a man and a woman. He stated that he doesn't intend to restrict same-sex marriage if elected governor during the 2024 election.
I don't believe him.
I didn't either. Again, you have too much. It's in too much black and white to. You kind of can't escape it. He has also made critical remarks towards transgender people, once responding to a question that asked what defines a woman, saying that there's only man and women. I was raised with that as a Christian, and marriage is between a man and a woman. He also said that I don't believe that transgender men should be competing against girls and women in sports.
Okay. Are we done with him yet?
No. We're almost done with him. We're almost done. So in February 2017, while serving on the Ways and Means Committee, he voted against a measure that would have led to a request of the Treasury Department for President Donald Trump's tax returns. He voted against
it. Does that surprise you?
No. I still want his tax returns. I still want that. He signed the Taxpayer Protection Pledge by Americans for Tax Reform. The pledge commits the signer to oppose any legislation that raises taxes or eliminates tax deductions. Now, I'm not that smart. I don't know a whole lot about the taxations. There's so much going on around that.
Yeah.
That once I find something out, I can't keep up with what keeps coming out. So on April 10th, 2014, he introduced the Permanent S Corporation Built-in Gains Recognition Period Act of 2014. That is a mouthful. It's a bill that would amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to reduce from 10 to 5 years the period during which the built-in gains of an S corporation are subject to tax and to make such reduction permanent.
Okay. It's like giving corporations tax breaks.
Yes. That is all he has. That's all he did during his time with the House. But Dave Reichert has ridden the coattails for too long on the Green River case, and I think it's time he retires that.
I agree.
Because yes, you were part of it and you were the lead detective, but
you didn't believe it. You didn't solve it. You didn't even interview the wife.
No, there was a lot of stuff that happened, and
yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah. I would love to hear everyone's opinions, though.
I would love to hear everybody's opinion. I don't even know what next week is going to be based on.
No, I'm going to surprise her.
Yeah, she's going to keep a secret from me. I actually like knowing a little bit in advance so I can do my own research. But she likes
I like the mystery.
She likes me being totally surprised and catching me off guard and everything like that.
The next case will
we're gonna really try to stay to local cases
in Washington
for now.
We are gonna do another one though, another podcast called Grim Geography.
Yes, we are.
Where we tackle out of state, because I have a lot of those too.
Yes, we have a lot of mysteries.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Is that Washington? It's a lot of cold cases that are recently being solved. So a lot of these cases are unsolved.
Yes, there's a couple that I wanted to tackle that are out of state that
are on my list. Don't worry.
Yes, that just like they're crazy. I mean, yes. One, she disappeared from a car within 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. The other one, she went out the door from her parents' house and never came back.
Yes, we will get to that on the other one.
Yes, we will.
So this is where we shall leave you guys.
Yes. Please leave comments. Now, just remember, this is our first one. And we have to work out the kinks and everything like that. And let us know what we could have done better or we could have done wrong or whatever. But I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.